there, this is Josh from the CAE at Tyndale. Now, one thing I've noticed over the years is that students find it quite useful to schedule their studies into what I call organized work sessions. There's so many ways you can do this, but first, let's figure out how many work sessions you can reasonably fit in a single day. To do this, let's build a basic schedule for the week. For those that don't like scheduling, you don't necessarily need to follow a strict schedule and have everything meticulously planned, but it can be helpful to build an initial schedule at the start of each semester. This is so that you can have a reasonable understanding of what your entire semester looks like. Okay, so I have an academic plan here that I'm going to use to show you how you can schedule work sessions and organize your time. If you want a copy of this plan, you can get this from the Center for Academic Excellence's resource page. I'll leave a link for that in the video description below. But to begin, what we're going to do is we're going to figure out what I like to call all the non-negotiables in your life. Those are those things that you just can't do anything about. Whether it's the time that you work your job, you are in class, or maybe you're picking up the kids, or maybe you're stuck commuting for an hour to or from work. There's just nothing you can really do about that. So what we're going to do for those is we're going to note them. Let's say, for example, we have a class in the morning from, let's say, 8:30 in the morning to 11. And what I like to do is I like to pick a color that represents, for me, that's non-negotiable. And so that we're going to go through each day of the week and mark those off. Now you can do this with a soft copy of this chart, or you can print one out and fill it out then. Let's say this is our work week, Monday to Friday. If you want, you can even fill these out. Let's say I'm working this day, working that day, maybe volunteering in the morning here, because that's an obligation, right? You've committed yourself to that. You have class this day. And you can give them all different colors if you want to, but the point is to take stock of those things that you just can't do anything about. So next we're going to take stock of all those things that are important but are still flexible, and I call these your refreshers, because these are things that you need to keep refreshed and energized throughout the day and to be able to function properly. So like your sleep schedule, for example. Let's say that we go to bed at 10 at night, a little bit early, but I'm going to mark that with a different color. And let's say I'll do that. So my sleep schedule is very regular throughout the week. I'll just do that across the board. And then I will mark in the morning. Let's say I get up around 6. Okay, so if I scroll out a bit, now we can see what this is starting to look like. And we also want to include our meals on here. So maybe in the morning I give myself some extra time to get ready in the morning. So all those mornings I wake up, give myself about 30 minutes to read, get my breakfast, enjoy a cup of coffee, whatever you do to recharge in the morning to get yourself started. And then let's say I have lunch around 12 o'clock on most days. I will do that as well. And then of course for the day where I'm working or I have class, maybe I'll do it beforehand, or you know what, maybe I'll have my lunch during class too. We can take account of that. But as you can see, what we're doing is we're really taking stock of what our life really looks like here. So this gives us an idea of where we can fit our work sessions. So as you can see, if I'm a really early bird, but I have class around 8:30 or so, I have a couple hours in the morning. I might be able to fit some reading in there, maybe something light. Whereas on Tuesday here, I have several hours. And this gives you an idea of where you can actually start to fit in your time and dedicate it to work. So let's take Monday, for example. Here, I forgot my dinner time here, so I'm just going to put that real quick. As we can see, from approximately 12:30 to let's say 6, I have several hours worth of time that I can dedicate to doing work. Now, when it comes to planning work sessions, what I'll often do is let's start with one work session here. Let's start from 12:30. I'm going to plan a 90-minute session here. I'm gonna make it maroon or mahogany or whatever this color is. And the reason why I picked 90 minutes, you can use this number as a basis, is because on average a person can only focus for about 90 minutes before they need a real break. You ever wonder why all your classes are either 90 minutes long or 3 hours with a break in between? You see, it's that hour and a half segment. So you take an hour and a half of class, then you get a break in between, then you do an hour and a half. So what we're going to try to do is follow a similar principle here. I'm going to give myself one study session that's about 90 minutes, and then you know what, maybe I'll give myself a brief break. Let's say I'll do that blue right there. And then I'm going to fit in another session, another study session. And let's say I'm going pretty hard this day, so I'm going to do yet another break and then another session here. So what we have here is, rather than thinking of this as roughly 6 hours of non-stop studying, what we have then is 3 good sessions where we're going to be very focused on whatever we're doing. And again, you can also label these. Let's say I'm doing some reading here. I'm working on a paper here. Maybe I'm doing research for another paper on this third session here. And there we have 3 sessions that are approximately 90 minutes each, and they all focus on different things. But if you've seen my previous videos, you'll know that how long we're able to focus kind of varies based on the topic, our proficiency at doing a certain topic or a certain task, maybe our personality style or our learning style. And so this is where the work session principle really works well, because even though I'm scheduling these for 90 minutes each, I know that I'm realistically not necessarily going to be focusing for 90 minutes straight in every single session. I'm going to do my best, like this is a goal for myself, but I know that I might have some times where I end a little bit early just because I can't do it anymore. I need to take a break and then I'll come back to it. And so by the time 6 o'clock comes in, I'll have finished some work in all of these things, hopefully a substantial amount in every task that I set myself to, but I'm not going to beat myself up because I had a hard time focusing on my paper and maybe I only got an hour of work in. Instead of saying, oh, I had 6 hours and I wasted about 2 hours of it, instead of having that negative tone to it, what I'm going to be able to say to myself is, oh, I had 3 work sessions, and sure, maybe 2 of them went fantastic and 1 of them I could have improved in, but still, I got my work done today and I'm going to pick up where I left off. And so that's what we're going to do for the rest of the week, is we're going to figure out how many sessions approximately I'm going to fit in each day. And because this is such a busy day that I've already fit in 3 work sessions, I'm just going to maybe fit in 1 more here near the end of the day. Because what I want to do is, maybe I want to relax after dinner, have a nice cup of coffee, watch a show. Then I'll get back to work, do some more reading. But then I want to wrap up the night and have some time to myself to do some hobbies, to hang out with some people. And as you can see, what this allows you to do is we're flexibly putting in these work sessions while also allowing us to have some flexible time for ourselves. And so while looking at each week, we can see approximately how many work sessions we might fit in here. But you're probably going to have some days where you fit in one work session. You'll have days where you fit in 2 or 3, and that's okay. You're going to try to fit in as many as you reasonably can. But with the session principle in mind, what you're going to want to do is you want to experiment with how long these sessions are. Take some time to figure out how long you can stay focused on a particular subject, and notice when your mind starts to wander, when you start to get distracted, when you want to procrastinate, and when you just start to get stressed. That may be a sign it's time to take a break on that subject. You could even just switch to the next work session you have planned. However, if you start feeling that way and not a lot of time has passed, do try to keep focusing. Challenge yourself to keep going, because the more you challenge yourself to do this, the stronger your brain muscles will get, and you'll find yourself being able to focus more next time. And if you're working on a subject you have no experience with, or you're just new to university, chances are you'll struggle to focus for long periods of time. You're probably not going to be able to get a solid 90 minutes of work in the beginning, but with practice and time, you will eventually be able to do that. You'll become more skilled at focusing on your work, but until then, feel free to adjust your work sessions and how long they are. See what you can do from subject to subject. Keeping in mind that this is never about how smart you are or what your IQ is. That's just not how your concentration works. It's more about how much time you put into having productive work sessions. Give yourself enough time and enough practice, and you'll be a pro in no time. But the last thing I want to say is that when it's time for a break, make sure you're taking a quality break. Avoid technology and take non-stimulating breaks. What I mean by this is we often think we're taking breaks when we're watching TV shows, movies, YouTube videos, listening to intense music, or having intense conversations. These are things that often keep our brains engaged and working when they should be resting. Now, there's nothing wrong with watching TV shows or doing any of these hobbies. In fact, I'm incredibly guilty of doing all of these things when I'm trying to take a break, but do keep in mind that depending on how your brain's wired, these activities can actually prevent your brain from properly resting. So evaluate what works best for you and your breaks. Consider what activities actually leave you feeling refreshed and ready to work next time. Do more of those. And what activities leave you feeling drained after your break is done and you can't get back into your work as easily. Do less of those. But ultimately, my challenge to you is this: work towards and establish effective work sessions that allow you to have restful breaks and allow you to enjoy your life. If you can do that, you will not only become a stronger student, but I bet you'll actually start to enjoy all of your work. Wouldn't that be neat? Anyways, this has been Joshua Matta from the Center for Academic Excellence, and I'll see you next time.